You battled against both of these Suns legends. How big of a problem, I guess is how I'm going to phrase this one, was Amar'e Stoudemire when attacking the basket?
Well, that big three in itself between the Matrix, Stoudemire, and Nash was a problem, and it changed the game of basketball. It changed on how teams guarded the pick and roll. Nash and Stoudemire in the pick and roll, that was one of the most unstoppable duos ever, in my opinion, when it came to figuring out whether you was going to be in the drop coverage, because they spaced the floor. And Shawn Marion is so underrated. We're talking about a guy that was a walking double-double in the league, but those three were difficult to deal with. I remember when they came into Boston and we had lost 18 in a row, and we was fired up. They had the best record in the league, and we got smoked by 50. We got smoked by 50. We got smoked.
Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it just happened that way. But you mentioned Shawn Marion, right? And he recently said that he felt like he was a big part of changing the game. And you said that you think that he is underrated. George, what do you think? Is he underappreciated?
Oh, there's no question about it. A lot of big men in today's game, Malika, owe Shawn Marion a debt of gratitude because of the way Mike D'Antoni played him and the way he played basketball. It kind of helped us get to this positionless basketball that we've been playing and we've seen evolve basically ever since. And I know for a fact that when Miami won their championship in 2012, Erik Spoelstra called Mike D'Antoni to tell him, hey, your style won, because it was positionless basketball. So for a guy like Shawn Marion to go from JUCO to UNLV to being a guy to revolutionize the game for big men certainly deserves a lot of flowers and a lot of love.
Your style won. I mean, that's a heck of a compliment right there. I just feel like, though, Brian, there are a ton of what ifs, right, in NBA history, and a lot of them surround those mid-aught Suns, right? Like, what if Amar'e Stoudemire and Boris Diaw don't get suspended in the 2007 playoffs? What if Joe Johnson doesn't fracture his face in 2005? Do you think the 7 seconds or less Suns, maybe they get unfairly lost in the shuffle here?
Yeah, it's a basketball tragedy that they never even reached the finals, much less won a title. And the NBA would have been a different place. Talking about Erik Spoelstra winning, playing positionless basketball, that was half a decade or, 3/4 of a decade later. If the Suns had done it, the league would have transitioned faster. And you mentioned the things that happened, the Joe Johnson injury and then the decision not to re-sign him. The hip check heard around the world, which led to Steve Nash getting blasted in the face by the scorer's table and the suspensions that basically took him out of that series. And then the terrible fortune of Amar'e Stoudemire having microfracture. Back when that was something that was done, was microfracture surgery, which was a devastating procedure that basically derailed the momentum of that team. So I think they're all underrated to this day. I mean, I think Steve Nash is underrated as a player, the way he changed the game. People still question whether or not he should have won multiple MVPs. So, that would never have happened if they had reached the finals, and they deserved to reach the finals. They were a change agent, and they just had bad luck. And it's an example of why even reaching the finals and losing is a huge accomplishment, because that's something this team never was able to do.
Right, and the Suns, as they are constructed, now that's where all the questions come in. Their current big three, right? That big three did enough to get their jersey in the rafters, but it's whether or not the big three of Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, they can do the same. It remains to be seen. The big question, Perk, is on paper, and we talked about this earlier on the FIBA stage. Is this big three better than that big three? On paper.
Absolutely they are. First of all, Kevin Durant is the top 15 greatest player of all time. That's number one. Second of all, Devin Booker is just getting started. He haven't even scratched the surface of his prime. He's going to go down as one of the best two guards to ever play the game of basketball. Bradley Beal will be a future Hall of Famer. These guys have a lot in the tank. I feel like they will accomplish more than Steve Nash, Stoudemire, and the Matrix. And I feel like they're just getting started. So yeah, I do have to ride with Book, KD, and Bradley Beal for us being the better big three.
Right now, on paper, they feel like a top 2, top 3 seed in the West, along with the Denver Nuggets. Maybe you put the Los Angeles Lakers into that conversation, and we'll see if they can get over the hump that they were not able to in 2021.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.